Hello again, everyone. I'm Katie Silverwings, and I am going to be doing some more patchwork today. So, for those of you who haven't met me before, hi, I am a glassblower and textile artist, and I am currently studying glassblowing at the University of Creative Arts in Farnham. And since I am in my house, I got a very nice letter from the British government asking me to stay in my house today. Very nice stationery and all that. I am in my house for the time being, and therefore I am working on my patchwork elements of my major project and a few other crafty things around my house. And so I am doing live streams every day, most days, to share what I'm up to with y'all and hopefully give you some relatively pleasant distraction to have to watch while you are also potentially in your house with different things going on. But in any case, hello, and I'm going to turn you around to where my ironing board is, because I am about to start getting my strips ready for the next row on these pieces that I'm making. So as you can see, we have very nice weather here in Farnham today. And today I am going to be hopefully finishing all of the blocks for my large patchwork banner that I'm working on. All of the fabrics in these, if you haven't seen them before, are hand dyed. I do all of my own dye work. At least that's one of the things I've been doing up in the university back when I was allowed to be in the studios there. And for my project, I am working with bright primary colors. So as you can see, I've got most of this block done. It just needs 2 more bright colored strips on it. So it'll have a blue one here and then another yellow one here. And yeah, so I'm getting those blue strips ready right now. And I hope you are all having a lovely day. So this, I have not shown this to y'all before. This is my blue fabric that I dyed. This is 2 meters of cotton poplin. It was ice dyed with a variety of different tones of blue on it. And I'm just gonna hold this up for the camera so you can see. Oh my goodness, I was so happy when I saw how this came out. And it is one of the prettiest pieces of fabric I've ever dyed. It's kind of a shame that I'm gonna be tearing it up into strips, but I do have plans in the future to make some just large plain cloth banners to then dye in this method so I can have some to hang up with the patchwork ones. As you can see, this has a lot of tonality in it. There's a couple different shades. There goes one of my rulers. I'll get that in a bit. There's a couple different shades of navy in this, as well as a brighter blue, and it just has so many beautiful tones in it, and I absolutely love working with this kind of ice dyed fabric. Let's see if I can get a good angle there. Yeah, so this is the fabric I'm working with today. And I love ice dyed fabrics for patchworks. I think they add a real warmth and interest to a piece. And I just absolutely am so excited to be finally getting this fabric out and using it. So I'm going to start by getting my strips cut. And for that, I need one of my small plastic rulers. And I'm technically not cutting my strips. For this particular pattern, it works best if I tear them. So I'm going to be measuring for my marks, cutting a little snip right at my selvage, and then I'm going to be just tearing strips off. Fabric I'm working with is a nice, even, straight grain fabric, so it's very single woven. It's very easy to tear them like that to get nice, straight, even strips all the way down. So I know it's going to take me at least 4, if not 5 strips to do all the blue in this. So I'm going to tear this first strip. Apologies if you don't like the sound of fabric tearing, and enjoy if you do. And there we go. So now I can show you up close all of the lovely patterns that are in this first strip. And I'm doing relatively, I'm doing relatively wide strips on this particular banner so that I can get as much of these nice patterns into them as I can. I'm just going to tilt you this way a little bit, see if I can get the brightness. There we go. So there's one strip, and I'm just going to set that over here for you to hold. And find the edge. So if anyone has any questions or comments for me, leave them in the side, and I'll answer them when I get a chance to while I'm working. And there's the second strip. And there's strip number 3. I'm going to iron all of these just to make sure they don't have any major wrinkles in them before I start pinning them to things so that I can sew them all together. I'm going to go ahead and pull 6 strips of this, I think, just to make sure I have enough. So there's another strip of blue. Hello. There's a 5th strip. And you can see this one has a really nice spot where the design's quite pretty there. Look forward to seeing that on something. And 1 more strip. And there is that one. I do love how this blue came out so much. It's going to have some really nice tones across the blocks. So now I'm just going to move this fabric out of the way. There it is again for those of you who didn't see it earlier. Again, I love this fabric, especially in the sunlight. It's so pretty. So now I'm going to move a few things around, and then I'm going to iron these strips so that they're nice and flat, and then I will start pinning them onto my blocks. So I'm going to set my blocks over here by the computer for a moment. You can just hold those for me. And get my iron on. I have had to open the window in my house because it's actually warm in Britain today. I am loving the weather we're having. I just wish I could really go outside for the whole day and enjoy it. So I'm just going to start with this one and iron some of these major wrinkles from where it's been folded out. And try not to iron any more wrinkles in. So this fabric has been folded up and sitting ever since I brought it back from campus. So it's kind of got a few wrinkles in it here and there, but overall it's going to be just fine once I get it ironed. The ironing is also just to take out any of the little pucker marks on the side from where I've torn the strips. All right, so it does. It's actually, it's not indigo, but it is using some of the synthetic dyes that get that same sort of denim-y color. My hope is that one of my future bodies of work using this patchwork and quilting and glass together, I would actually focus on dyeing fabrics with indigo and doing just blue and white patchwork and blue and white glass together, and I think that'll be gorgeous. So if you know anyone who would be willing to sponsor me for doing that sort of body of work for an exhibition or residency somewhere, please let me know. So here you can see some of these lovely mottled tones in this particular strip. It has some really nice, almost lightning bolt designs in it. So I'm going to set that strip over here with you. And I'm going to iron the other 6, or no, other 5, because I tore 6. So some of these strips are going to have really dark, denim-y blue sections to them, and some of them are going to have more of a bright royal bandana blue. And when I ice dye things, I usually will put 2 or 3 different shades of the same sort of color in them. So with all of the major fabrics that I've dyed recently, so this one, the yellow one I was using a couple days ago, and then the red one that you haven't seen yet, it's all 3 specific dyes put together, just sprinkled over the ice, and then allowed to set into the fabric at its own will. So the patterns really kind of make themselves. I'm going to hold that up a little closer so y'all can really see it. And with the ice dye, doing it the way that I do it, I get these really nice kind of rocky, fractally patterns and some really nice variations in tone just from how the fabric takes the dye. Actually, earlier this year, when I was doing some of my other my tests with ice dyeing over printed fabrics, I had some filmmakers from one of the university's other programs bring me a dress that they needed to look like it was bloodstained for a photo shoot they were doing. So it got dyed in the vat with one of my red fabrics and just kind of got these large mottled pinkish red and brown spots all over it, and it was wonderful. And I do enjoy doing stuff like that. Just those of you who know me in person know that I was always that kid growing up that had every craft kit she could get her hands on and did any sort of creative thing I could think of or find. Yeah, they're kind of like to answer your comment about one of the patterns looking like a wolf head. They really are kind of like the nebulas in the Hubble Space Telescope imagery, where you can kind of see all sorts of different designs and patterns. There's one of my yellow pieces in one of the blocks really looks like a fish to me. And I think that's part of the fun of using hand-dyed fabrics as opposed to commercially dyed ones or printed ones, is that there's a bit more mystery to them. Although, for any of you out there who do like doing fabric crafts and don't necessarily have the time or space to dye your own fabrics like this, you can find batik fabrics or hand dye looking fabrics. And if that's what you want to work with, that's great. Or if you ever want to try tie-dyeing or ice-dyeing fabric, it's not that hard. It just takes a bit of a setup. And washing out blue and red takes forever because the colors just oversaturate and you have to keep washing until the water runs clear. And with some of these, I've actually had to boil the fabric to get all of the extra dye to come out of it. But I do love playing with this stuff, and that is part of why I really enjoy the project I'm working on, because even though my focus for my degree is glass blowing, I'm getting to come back to some of my roots with the fabric and really show off both of the art forms that I really love and get to experiment with things, and that's where I'm happiest, is when I'm creating new, interesting things that bring people joy. So I hope that me live streaming is also bringing a little bit of joy into the world. Heaven knows we could all use a little bit. So, out of curiosity for those of you watching, what do you think this looks like? Because I really like this spot of pattern, and I'm not sure what it reminds me of, but I feel like there's a creature hiding in that spot. So do give me suggestions for what that is. And I think the cool thing is I decided to do all of the ice dye patterns and to let the fabric kind of decide what shape and form and the colors we're going to take, in part because that's one of the things I love about certain techniques in glass. And I actually have a piece up here from my very first year of working with glass that I'm going to show you that has kind of that same wispy mysteries and see what you can see in it. And it's right over here. I have yet to make a proper setting for this, but this is one of my first cast and slumped pieces. So to me, let's see if I can get it right. From this angle, to me, this always kind of looks like an anglerfish. I don't know if anyone else can see it, but trust me, I can see an anglerfish in this. Ooh, polar bear face. Yeah, so this is one of the other techniques of glass that I've worked with, which is basically, this was a big cast block. You can really see the fish here. See, there's his eyes and his fins over here, and down here in the green is his mouth. So I was working with sand cast and then slumped out glass, and this is one of the pieces that I did when I was first playing with it. I since have learned that I much prefer the more immediate processes of blowing glass to casting and slumping and fusing, just because this to me feels like it takes so much more time. But yeah, eventually I'm going to make some sort of a frame for this so it can hang on a wall or stand on a stand or something. So polar bear face and wild cloud. I like both of those as descriptions for that bit of the fabric. And now I have 3 more strips to prepare. All right, so there's this strip. As you can see, this one's got, let's see, quite a bit of that flower petal sort of patterning in it. It's got a lot of the brighter blue, less of the indigos. It's a very nice tonal strip. I do hope that wherever y'all are, you're having as nice of a bit of weather today as we are here, because at least we have nice things to look out at our windows at. I know my father has told me all and shown me all sorts of things blooming and growing in my mother's yard. So, and Lupe, I just saw your comment about this being kind of darty storm cloud pattern, and I have to say that is my favorite description for this sort of fabric I've seen yet. That this, and I've just heard that the garden got rained out. But yeah, this does have that storm clouds on the horizon sort of look to it. I'm going to have to make a note of that. That's something I can put in my sketchbooks. Thank you. That is part of why I'm doing this, is so that I get feedback from people about what they see and what I'm doing. Oh, that's right. Did I iron this? No, it is still wrinkly. I need to iron this one. I was taking the strings off of it. I am doing this in part so that I can get a bit more feedback from people who are not grading me. And I suppose if Dad, if you've gotten rained out, that does explain why you're inside watching me rather than outside painting things. And thank you for the compliment, Luque. So here's our last strip. I'm going to turn the iron off. So there's the latest strip. And this one really has some almost crystalline patterns and goes into more of this darker, almost purple sides to it. And then down here has a little bit of lighter. So one of the colors I used in this is called Violet Navy. And on cottons, it doesn't usually come out purple when you're dyeing it so much. But on this, because it was of the way it was dyed, it did come out. And I love those little tiny touches of purple. All right, so I've got my fabric strips. They're all this nice storm cloud blue. And I've got my blocks that are going to all get a blue strip pinned onto them now. So exciting. Pinning things. And I need to have my scissors out and my little dish of shiny pins. So these blocks are getting big enough, they're taking up more space than I have to set them for this. Guess you're gonna just have to hold these for me again. So here's this one. Here we go. If I move all the strips over here, and this, I can move these out of the way so you can actually see what I'm doing. So it has been mentioned to me by one of the people viewing, I think it might have been my mother, but that people might be interested in a shorter tutorial form of how I'm making these blocks. So if anyone is interested in a shorter edited video of this is how I put this log cabin block together, I will gladly do what I can to make one of those once I have a slightly better setup for filming from above, which I'm still looking into. If anyone has webcam recommendations for doing stuff like this, please let me know. I am still very much a newbie in the world of live streams and videos and stuff. And all of the film people that I would normally go to and ask, hey, can you help me with this, are kind of quarantined in their houses right now. So while I'm sure I may contact them anyway and see what they think, but I'm not sure if they have time, and it's kind of hard when my setup is very high ceilinged and I don't have that much table space, so who knows. But I do know I have somebody who, once I am able to get back into a hot shop, will be helping me film the process for making my final pieces once I'm able to make them and all that. So there's our first strip. It's very nice and storm cloudy. And I'm going to set these over here by the sewing machine. And there's this one. And there is another one. And this one. I hope the lighting's okay on all this. I can't really control the sun too much. All right, so I know that this little leftover bit will not fit on this box. So I'm just going to hold it up so you can see the design. And then it's going to go in my bucket of things to use in future projects. And here's that block. And there's that one. This one has a lot of different tones in it. Someday I will have an overhead shot. I promise. Someday. Just, it's going to be wow. And there's that one. So in answer to the question of what time it is here, it is currently 5:23 in the afternoon. Time differences are weird. I shudder to ask what time it is back in Texas right now. Something that's been a bit to get used to, just with all of my friends and family being in some time zones and me being here. And I think there's a while during certain parts of the summer where it's a 7 to 8 hour time difference between here and some places where I have family. And So there's this one. Oh, wow. So it's not even lunchtime there. 11:25 in the morning. Time differences are weird. Although, of course, my mother has made the joke recently that she's not too worried about the world ending because wherever I am, it still seems to exist. I'm just a few hours in the future from you, so let's go with that theory. Means there's hope. A little bit more than we already have. Granted, we have hope for this situation to begin with. At the very least, everyone's getting a chance to do their spring cleaning. And possibly their fall and winter cleaning as well, just to get it all over with. So there's another one here. Dad, I figured you were taking your lunch break to watch this, yes. So these cutoff bits of blue are going to become parts of different blocks because they will ultimately fit another place on one of these, just not this particular block. And here's this one. And there's another one. Those of you who've watched me recently know that there's 20 of these blocks, so it does always take me a little while to get every step completed. But the end result will be worth it. And there's another one. This one's got a really nice pattern on it. And there's another block done, or rather pinned and ready to sew. to say, I never really noticed how long patchwork takes until I was doing it for deadlines. So there's my little offcut piece. And there's the block. Cloth stained glass is kind of what I'm going for with some of this, yes. I just saw your comment. Yeah, so part of what I love about this, and I'll hold up this block, that I really like how the seams shine through it. Let's see, like this, where you can actually see the seam lines when they're hanging. And since these patchwork panels are intended to just kind of hang in a space, hopefully with sunlight behind them somehow, those seam lines will actually show up and become part of the design. So there's this one. This one's got a darker strip to it. And there's another one. Again, still really dark, but with some nice patterning. This, going back to that storm cloud look, this particular bit kind of right here kind of looks like a lightning storm to me. And I'm very happy it's going to go on this block. And there's another one. Next to last block. And there's one more. And last one. Hey, I have an extra couple of strips to put up over the side. That's good. I will use those in the future. And there's the last one. So now I'm going to turn you around and get set up and start sewing these. So now we come back over this direction. Let's move get you at the proper angle. And here we see my sewing machine, Gertrude. And I am going to get a sip of my tea or two before I start because it is actually quite warm in my apartment today. There we go. And I won't get dehydrated, so I need to plug my lamp in. And turn the lamp on. There we go. So now I can see what I'm doing. And yeah, so my sewing machine, if for those of you who haven't met her before, I've named her Gertrude. She came from a charity shop here in town. She is a 1924 Singer hand crank sewing machine and is one of my daily workout regimen bits. I turn the crank and it is entirely Katie powered. So yeah. But she also does not require a power cord or any electricity conversion, which any of my sewing machines, if I brought them from home, would have been. Or if I'd gotten one here and then tried to take it back to the States, I would have had to get a power converter for it. So I like her. She's really fun to sew with, and she makes a pleasant sound. At least I think so. So first block done, 19 to go. Again, if you have any questions for me, do leave them in the comments and I will answer them when I get to a point where I can. 2. Hopefully you're not jiggling as much today. I know some days if I don't have everything set up just right when I'm sewing, the computer kind of shakes a little bit. So I hope that's not happening. I can't really be looking in 2 places at once. As much as I would love to have chameleon eyes to be able to do that, because that would be cool. Yep, it's still shaking. Let's see. Maybe this will help. That's better. To move all those out of the way to make room. Again, as these blocks grow, they take up more and more space on my work table, and it becomes a little bit more difficult to maneuver them around. So as you can see, this is going to take me a little while to sew, but it will be worth it once I get all these blocks sewn and pressed and open, so I can add the last strip to them. I'm so excited for that last strip because it's going to be the yellow again, and I really like the yellow fabric that I've made. Actually, I really like all the fabrics I've dyed. Just kind of getting a pile of fabric up here, aren't I? Oh, so Lupe, I just saw what you said about reddish brown and blue for dust clouds and storms. And I think I have a project that I want to pursue after I'm done with all this. That's actually going to be taking the concepts I'm working on with the patchwork and the glass and how I'm doing those things and actually have it be interpreting the landscape that we're from. So taking those elements like the colors of West Texas and that weird sort of patchwork quilt topography that everything has when you see the aerial photos where all of the different little fields are kind of patchwork together and they have different patterns in them. That's one of the things I do want to pursue. That might actually be when I do a master's in glass. That might be the body of work that I take for that. So yeah, thank you for that, though. I will definitely put some of those comments on there. And to answer your question, forgive me if I'm pronouncing this wrong, Mahendra, I am making a patchwork banner. So you can kind of see one up in the corner here. I am making a lot of cotton fabric patchwork blocks, and then they'll eventually get stitched together into a nice long hanging piece of cloth. and that will be sitting eventually hanging from the ceiling in conjunction with a bunch of smaller glass pieces that I've made that have the same patterns in them. And now back to sewing. It takes me a while sometimes to get to a point where I can see your comments, but I will respond to them as soon as I can. Once I finish getting all of these blocks sewn, I will hold them up and show them to you. But at the moment, I still have a good 10 or 12 left to sew because there's going to be 20 of these blocks in the final piece. All right, 6 more, and then I can start pressing these blocks and showing them to you. Mahendra, as I'm currently living in the UK, and what I know is that everybody here is doing our best to stay in our houses and to not overburden the medical services. I know I have quite a few friends who are a few people that I know in my course who are former medical people who've actually gone back into service in hospitals. And generally, it doesn't seem to be outrageously horrible here right now, but mostly I have not been in contact with very many people here because most of the people that I know here have gone back to their respective homes. A lot of my friends are actually international, or I know a lot of international students who've actually gone back to their home countries if they can, or who are kind of camped out in the halls of residence on campus because they can't go home. So I don't really know too much about the situation, in part because I cannot handle the intensity of the news with things right now. That's part of why I am doing this sort of thing, to bring a little bit of that non-virus related stuff into everyone's lives again, and also because I have to get my uni work done because they are still going to be grading me even though we're not going to have a proper degree show for this stuff. But yeah, thank you for your question though. And for the compliment. Thank you for that as well. Can see there's a lot of fabric going on here right now, but I'm getting close to the stage where I can start clipping these. There's another one. I do really like this cotton poplin. It sews nicely and my sewing machine likes it, and it holds a nice crisp seam when I press it. I don't know if y'all can hear me on the sewing machine. You'll have to tell me if you can. Next, last one. And last one. All right, finally, all 20 blocks nice and ready to go. So I'm just gonna get a couple more sips of my tea, and then I am going to flip these apart, and then I'll go press them and you can see how they turned out. I get dehydrated really easily, so I do have to keep reminding myself to drink something. So let's see what we got here. A pile of so there's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Just making sure they're all here. 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16, 17, 18, 19, and 20. Great. So that's all the blocks ready to start turning this all around and pressing them. I hope that you are enjoying today's live stream. It is mainly consisted of me getting one strip of fabric sewn onto all these blocks, but it takes a while. As the seams get longer, they do take a little bit longer to sew. And for those of you who haven't seen my work before, let me show you. This is one of the test pieces from my current project that has some of the patchwork patterns in it. So I am also a glass blower, and this is actually the main focus of my project, is putting patterns like this that come from quilt patterns into glass. So this is not one of my final pieces, it was a test piece that I made, but it does really show that quilt block effect quite nicely. So I'm going to be making pieces of glass kind of like this that match the patterns and colors in these, and those will be my final pieces once I can actually get back into a hot shop again, because right now the British government has asked me and everybody else to stay in our houses, which means all of the hot shops around here that I know of have emptied their furnaces of all the glass. So I'm just going to turn you around back to window view, and as you can see, it is a beautiful sunny day here, and Farnham has some lovely trees and hillside. And now I'm just going to set everything up for pressing all of this. Just going to press these seams over, and then I will get started adding the last strip onto these blocks. Some of you, if you've been watching me for more than a couple of days now, you've seen these blocks grow from single pieces of fabric all the way up to this. So they're really starting to come together, and they just need one more strip on them to be done. So I'm just going to turn my iron on and wait a moment for that to heat up. While that does, I'll check and make sure. Nope, no comments I need to answer. And again, I hope that in some way this is making your day a little bit better, a little bit brighter, only because of the sun coming through my window, and that you are enjoying seeing how I'm making these patchwork banners. Once I get them done, I will post some nice pictures of them hanging up from my wall so you can see the whole effect of this. But right now, thank you for coming with me on the journey of getting these quilt squares made. I do tend to iron the whole block a little bit while I'm pressing the seam down, just to make sure that I don't end up with any wrinkles that start manifesting in different blocks. I know I do like how this is turning out. So ready? And there it is. So there's the block with the dark blue stripe added to it. And it'll just get one more yellow stripe along here, and it'll be done. So I'm going to set this to the side here with you and start pressing open the rest of these. Let's see. That goes there. And there we go. Ah, nice. I see it has reached lunchtime in Texas. It is getting close to dinner time here. And once I finish getting this last strip onto these blocks, I'm going to go and get dinner because I need to make food. I am very grateful that I have a tendency to keep my pantry well stocked to begin with, because it has kept me from having to go outside to the grocery store for quite some time now. So there is number 2. You can see how those patterns are really kind of coming together. The blue and yellow strips here actually almost match up to make clouds. And there is another one. And there's that one. Again, I'm loving how these fabrics look together. And thank you for your compliments on the stitching. I do appreciate that. The nice thing about these blocks is that it's all just nice straight seams with no real complications to it. It's just it takes a while to put them together because there are so many layers that go into them. And there's that one. And there's the back where you can see all my nice little seams pressed down. And there's another one. That one's really nice. I am so glad I decided to use wider strips that really show off the qualities of these fabrics. I think if I'd used more narrow ones, a little bit more of that pattern would be lost. So this way, it's going to show the overall geometric pattern, but it also is going to kind of showcase the different designs in the fabric. There's another one. I can't wait to see all this put together. I really like how this bit right here is lining up. These fabrics really are playing nice for me, and I'm very happy about that. So all the squares are going to be, to answer your question, all of the squares are going to be the same pattern, but because the fabrics have those tonal differences in them and different patterns in them, they're going to have all of these differences in lights and darks and patterning within them. And then of course, when they're all put together, they'll make a bigger design. So thank you for your question. I will be making some pieces later on, not today, but in the next couple of weeks, that will have different blocks at the centers of them as kind of sampler quilts. But I'm starting with these, the two simpler banner patterns, just because they will take less time. And I know you can't see it, but outside my window right now, it is definitely spring. There is a happy little bumblebee just floating around my window. Happy little bumblebees being part of the reason why this window is closed. It's harder for them to fly into that one, but luckily I didn't have a bee coming to visit what I'm doing. But bumblebees here are so polite. I mean, and there's that one. They just kind of buzz by, they say hello, they buzz along because they are only really interested in flowers. I have to say, British insects are much more polite than Texan ones, because aside from wasps, which are just kind of universally scary, they tend to move out, they tend to just kind of leave you alone. And you know, they don't have scorpions here. Or extremely deadly spiders. Or rather, extremely dangerous spiders, I should say. And they don't even have snakes all that much. I think there's one kind of snake around in this country. So there's that one. And this one has almost a horse head on this side. But very nice patterning in that. And I'm going to finish these blocks today so that tomorrow I can seam them together and finish off the edges. Because I am not going to be finishing and quilting these, instead all of the blocks are just going to, all of the banners that I'm making are just going to have nice little turned down edges to keep them from unraveling. And part of why I'm tearing the strips for these is so that I get these nice edges like you can see here where it's not trying to unravel or anything. All the bits of fabric are nicely kept. And there's that one. And 2 more to press, and then I can get the yellow fabric out. So there's that one, and one more. Have to remember to press everything in the correct direction on these. Because the idea on these, with a lot of quilt blocks, I press my seams open. But with this particular one, it actually works better to press them all outwards away from the center block. So I'm just going to turn the iron off for now and show you there's the last one. So now all I have to do is get my yellow strips to go along this side, and then these, and pin them and sew them, and then these blocks will be done and ready to start seaming together. I am so excited for that. So let's see what I've got over here as yellow fabric. And this is where all of the design work comes in, because I have a paler yellow fabric that I've done. But that is quite, it looks much brighter on the computer than it does in real life, actually. But I will show you that. So this one has kind of a lemon rind tone to it. Just going to lay this out. And no, I think I'm going to stick with the brighter yellow for these, because the pale blue worked with it, but I think I would have had to do the pale yellow inside it. So I'll save this pale yellow for a different one of my banners. But again, it's very yellow, but it's kind of a baby duck yellow. And that's not quite what I want for this particular one, because I'm really enjoying these brighter, more pronounced patterns. Well, there are some more more deeply dyed. This was all tie-dyed. So while there are some deeper patterns in this one, it doesn't quite match what's in the rest of that. So I'm not going to use that yellow. And that one's even lighter. So I think it's going to be back to the yellow I used on it the first time, which is this one. And I love how this fabric came out. And I'm not usually much for yellow as a color for fabrics, but this particular one I'm really pleased with. And I believe I still have, yes I do, a couple of yellow strips left from the last time I was using this color. So I will start with those, and then I will tear some more and press them. And as you can see, this particular fabric does have some very light regions to it. So I think this will be fine. So now I need my pins back. And I need my scissors. My scissors live on a hook on the wall. And now I just need to go through and start pinning this. So the yellow strip is going to go on top of this red strip. And this is the last strip for these blocks, guys. I'm getting somewhere. going to take up a lot of pins on these. All right, so there's that. And there's that block ready to sew. Don't know if I'll end up sewing these today just because it is getting pretty late, but I will see what happens. Hello. Yeah, so the yellow that I'm using for some of my glass is a bit darker than this. There's also transparent yellow in it as well. But I do think that these more defined yellows will work better for this set of patchwork. But again, I'm just glad that I'm getting close to finishing this banner because, let's see, it's been, what, 4 days worth of live streams? So that's... This has been I've spent total probably about 8 or 10 hours on this so far. And I'm getting close to done, but I'm not quite there yet. So it'll probably take me tomorrow, a good couple of hours tomorrow to finish all of this. But it will be worth it when I do. So there's that one. And because I'm running out of room here, I'm setting the ones that have been pinned over by the sewing machine. So you can see this part of the strip is a little bit more duckling yellow. And there's that one. This little yellow strip here actually has a few little spots of blue on it, just from a little mishap in the dye lab, but it works. It's a kind of a semi-scrappy look for this, so I think that'll still be nice. And actually, I think I like this darker part of the strip better, so that's what I'm going to use first. Again, if anyone has questions or comments or things that you see in the background that you want to see up close, let me know, and I'll see what I can do about responding or holding up and explaining things. Because I do know there's a lot of glass around my house. There's a lot of other little shiny things here and there. And I do like talking about my work, if you hadn't noticed. And it sounds like my classmates are talking to each other, because that is the sound my phone makes when people are talking to each other in a group chat. So there is that one. Just going to real quick, just pardon me, I'm going to make sure that wasn't anything crucial. And no, it was not right now. It's something I can deal with later. So there's a little bit of yellow fabric that'll go into the bin. Not trash bin, scrap bin. I have a basket full of all of the little offcut scraps that I can use them in future banners and projects. Now, onto this strip. Looks like it's already got a cut in, so I will start with that. cut end on this one, the already cut end on this one is a little bit lemony, and I like it. And I'm definitely going to have to cut a few more strips of this yellow fabric so that I can get them onto all of the blocks. So there's another one. And there's that one. I think the fun part about all this has been just seeing how my friends and family back home, who've not necessarily seen all of my work recently, are reacting to the things that I'm doing or the things that I've been showing. So I do love all of y'all, and I really appreciate your comments and your support, because I couldn't be doing the stuff that I'm doing if y'all were not there behind me. And, you know, if I hadn't grown up with people telling me that it was possible for me to do stuff like this and teaching me all of the little skills that I needed to be able to do the textile-y stuff, and or helping, in some cases, helping me find books so that I could figure it out for myself. I think one of the things I miss most, because the campus is closed, is that all of my friends here, for the most part, have gone back to their homes, which means, so I can't have my little sewing circle meetup that I'm helping learn how to do patchwork and knitting and stuff like that. So there's that one. And now I just need to get some more strips of yellow cut. So, and here once again, for those of you who didn't see it yesterday, this is the big piece of yellow fabric that I dyed. It is 2 shades of yellow and a shade of brown, actually, that I ice dyed onto this, and I absolutely love this fabric. I'm not really much of a yellow person most of the time, but it is just so happy. I'm not usually one to go with the yellow is a happy color, but this fabric makes me happy. It just has this wonderful mottled sort of pattern to it, and every time I'm looking at it, I find new designs in it. So I'm definitely going to dye some more fabric like this as banners, and I have all of my recipes for what I mixed to get these made, so I will definitely be able to replicate them for future projects. Right now I need to set my pins out of the way and start cutting some strips. I actually tear my strips for this, and part of that is because this is a straight grained cotton poplin, 100% cotton. It tears very nicely right along the warp and weft, so I can get nice straight strips without having to spend forever lining up cutting tools. And all I have to do is iron the strips to get them to unpucker after I've torn them. So I'm going to cut, I'm going to say 4 more strips. So each one of these is marked at 2.5 inches. Now I'm going to tear this. And there it is. So there's the first of the strips, and I will go through and actually press this in a minute once I've gotten all the strips together. So there's one. Where's the end? Ah, there it is. And there's another one. And I do usually end up with a few stringies here and there that I will deal with later. But overall, you can see how nice and straight that is, and I don't have to worry about my blocks going wonky because all of the strips are actually the right width. So there's that one. Pardon my sneeze. No, I am not infected with anything. I have literally not left my house in the last 2 weeks, except once to take the garbage out to the bins. I'm stirring up a little bit of dust doing this, and I'm sensitive to dust and to pollen, and I've had my window open all day. So if you see me sneezing, no, I'm not sick. Thank you for your concern if you're concerned. And yeah, and I hope all of you are healthy as well and safe and taking every precaution that you need to remain that way. So there's the third one. I'm going to hold this up so you can see all the lovely patterns in it. That's just so pretty, if I do say so myself. And there's this one. And this particular strip does have a lot of that duckling yellow, but then it also has some really nice bigger patterns to it. And the nice thing about fabrics like this that have been ice dyed is that there's no real right side, wrong side, front, back to them. So it's very easy to use them for patchwork like this because I don't have to worry about making sure that they're all cut from the correct direction of the fabric. So, no fabric carrier thing. You do not get to tip over. I have all my fabric set up on a drying rack, really, so that it's just out of the way. And now I'm going to press these yellow strips and get the strings off the edge of them, and then I will get back to pinning. I'm going to finish these blocks today, and I'm so happy because that means that tomorrow all I have to do is seam them together, and I will have my first final body of work banner done. And since I've been doing it with y'all watching me all this time, I will know how much time it took me to make it, which is important. So just going to turn my iron back on. Yeah, the flip switch for the iron is actually down on the floor, so I do that without having to reach for it. I may need to refill the water on this iron soon because it's running out of steam. So there's the first one. And as you can see, it's a nice bit of yellow, and there's that lovely patterning in it. Again, so happy with all these fabrics that I've dyed. So I'm going to just set that here and get my next wrinkly one where I can reach it. And there's the second strip. This one has a lot more of that patterning in it, especially through here. So pretty. I think that is the main thing with the work that I do, is I make work that makes me happy, and I hope that it makes other people as happy as it makes me to work on it. All right, so next strip. So there's another one. Just gonna hold that up a little bit closer so you can see this pattern. And again, the fabric decided, the fabric and the dye together decided how the patterns were gonna come out. All I did really was put the ice on. Yeah, again, the different shades pop out more what's in the pieces. And with my final pieces, the two yellows that I've chosen for it, I have one translucent yellow and one opaque yellow. They're going to make these sorts of tones when they're together once I finally make my final pieces. There we go. And there's the last strip that has some kind of pale yellow and some really bright yellow and tones in between. So now I can go back to pinning things. So I need to bring my pins back. All right, so there's another one. I think, just because I'm starting to get a little bit tired with this, I'm going to finish pinning all of these and then I will sew them later and show them all to you tomorrow. But do stick around, I'm going to keep pinning. Again, the pollen is just making me sneeze so much. All right, so back to pinning. All right, there's another one. These long strips do take more pins just to keep them from crinkling while I'm sewing them. And there's that one. And here's my little tail bit that's going to go in the basket for later use. And this is why I cut lots of strips. So I think I'm going to start with this end. Yeah, they do get some really nice patterns in them. They're all unintentional, but I do like them. And the farm windmill is a nice one. Again, there's one yellow piece I had stitched on before that really, to me, looks like a fish. But I do, a lot of my work is drawing on my roots, whatever those happen to be. And in this case, it's a celebration of the patchwork and the craft tradition that I come out of. But I definitely want to do a body work that's about the place that I'm from, or the places, I guess, and celebrate stuff about that. So keep an eye out for that in the future. But right now, I am sewing patchwork. I'm just going to tilt this up just a little bit. And there's that one. And here's my little piece of offcut yellow that's going to go in my basket for future vlogs. Okay, you'll have to forgive me for the pinging sounds in the background. My phone is somewhere in my house, and I forgot to set it to silent before I started all of this. So since people are talking on a group chat, lots of pinging sounds are being made. And I cannot mute that from my computer, and I don't know where my phone is, so apologies on that. But here's the latest block. These are all going to be stacked up neatly beside my sewing machine, waiting for me to actually sew them tomorrow, because I do need to make dinner, and then I need to work on some of my digital coursework, because I have to submit all of my assignments online right now. And I need more pins. right, there's that one. And there's a little off-cut piece. And now I only have one more block left to pin. So do that. And there we go, there's the last one. So I'm gonna set this down. And that is going to be the last of the live stream for today, just because it is all right at 7 o'clock here, and I desperately need to go find some food. So I'm just gonna leave you with my usual little note of hope for the world. You are all wonderful people. You are strong, and even if you're struggling right now with whatever it is, you have the whole rest of humanity behind you, even if you don't feel that. And we're all working through this in our own ways. We're all doing our part to help everybody else get through this. And this is my little part for you. It's going to be okay eventually. It might not be the same, but we're going to get through this, and you are going to do amazing things. You just have to do stuff and keep going, and don't let all of the hectic, scary stuff of the world keep you from living. Because we're here, and we're all going to do this. We're going to get through this. We're going to keep on living. And eventually, one day, we will be in a place where it is safe for all of us to start leaving our houses again and enjoying being with each other physically. But as for today, I'm glad I could be with you digitally and share a little bit of my time and my process with you. And I hope that you have a great rest of the day, however much of the day is left for you. And I will hopefully see you tomorrow when I finish this banner. So bye, everybody. Be safe. Good afternoon, everybody. I am Kay Silverwings. I'm glassblower and patchwork artist studying at the University Crave Arts in Farnham in the UK, originally from Texas. And today I am working on finishing up the patchwork banner that I started last week that y'all have been keeping me company with while I'm working. So today I'm going to finish sewing these yellow strips onto all of my blocks, and then I'm going to seam all the blocks together and turn them into one big patchwork banner. And if you're joining me today, thank you so much. I hope you enjoy this, that it's a nice little creative, fun thing to add to your day. The whole reason I do this is to have some people keeping me company in some way, even if they're just imaginary people on the other end of the internet while I'm working, and also so that y'all can see what it is that I do, see how I do some of this patchwork that I'm making, and also just to connect with people, because, you know, we're all hanging out in our houses. I have officially been in my house and only leaving to take my trash out to the bins outside for 2 weeks now. This is day 15 for me since they closed the studios on campus, so I have requested that I stay in my house. So wherever you are, whether you're inside your house or having to work somewhere, thank you so much if you're one of those people who's an essential worker and has to keep keeping the world running while the rest of us are playing squirrels and hiding in our nests. But wherever you are, I hope that you enjoy this and that you are having a wonderful day regardless of the world situation. And yeah, so I'm just going to get started sewing these, because I got to a bit of a late start on my sewing aspect of my day today, because I have a lot of computer-based work that I am trying to get done for my assessments that are coming up in a few weeks. But in any case, hello and welcome. For those of you who haven't met her yet, I'm going to just change the angle a bit so you can see better. This is Gertrude. She is my sewing machine. There we go. She's a 1924 Singer sewing machine with hand crank. Hi. I hope you are having a good day there in Floydada or whatever part of the county you're in today. But yeah, so Gertrude and I are going to get started on seaming all of these blocks and finishing them up, and then I'll press them and pin them together and start building up the last bit of this. And it is, again, a beautiful, sunny, warm day here. I hope you have nice weather wherever you are, whether you're indoors or out. And here we go. Well, so you are in Floydada. Well, I hope everything in the shop is going well today and that any customers you do have are also healthy and don't give you too much trouble finding their equipment and things. And again, hope the weather's nice there. It's starting to get entirely too springy, summery here and warm, and there are so many birds tweeting outside. I had a couple land on my window earlier and try and decide if they wanted to make a nest. And I'd say, judging by how warm it is now and it's only April, I have a feeling the UK's in for a big heat wave this summer again. I don't know whether I'll be here for it or not, but I have a feeling it's going to happen. Makes sense. I'm glad you're still able to go in and work and keep things running, though, even though the shop's closed. And nice weather there. Something to be very grateful for. Kind of like nice weather here. It doesn't last for long, but... Oh, wow. It must be spring if it's going to be free, if it's a nice in between now and it's going to be freezing on Friday night. You're probably going to get the winter storm we didn't have. Or early spring storm, I guess. Yeah. I can't decide if I miss the weather in Texas or if I've just found a slightly cooler version of it here. Because it's that whole, if you don't like the weather, wait 10 minutes and it'll be different. I find that happens here too, although it rains a lot more here normally. The last couple of weeks, it has been absolutely beautiful weather. And of course, stay in your houses, everybody. But I have to say, I don't miss the wind. I really don't miss the wind. Miss a lot of other things, but I don't miss the wind. No, but 60-mile-an-hour winds when you're my height and easy to tip over in them, and the dust. It's the dust aspect of the wind that I don't miss so much. Yeah, exactly. If the wind is blowing the roof away, there's a problem. Here, anytime there is even a small wind or a storm with some wind in it, it knocks down so many tree branches, and it'll actually mess up the train lines because the trees here are not grown in, so the trees just don't know how to handle wind. They're not used to it. So if a 30-mile-an-hour wind comes by or something like that, it will take out tree branches and different things, especially if it's been raining a lot, so things are soggy. And it's just, then again, at home, what few trees we do have, don't they just tend to only grow branches on one side to begin with? So I guess it's that, unless it's a mesquite tree, if a tree grows in West Texas, it is tenacious enough to grow there. And yeah, there's so many trees here. It's amazing. But they do not like wind. Granted, Farnham's also built up on a river valley, so there's actually topography here as opposed to the completely flat farmland and then sudden canyons that we have at home. Yeah, I think that is the thing. There's no wind blocks in Floyd County unless you're in town, and even then there's not much there to keep things from blowing away. Whereas you get in a big, yep, exactly. And thank you, MD. I just saw your comment as well. This is going to be a relatively large banner, I'm starting to realize, because, let's see, each one of these blocks is going to be roughly 12 inches down. So it's going to be a 5 foot tall, no, 10, oh goodness. This is going to be a 10-foot tall banner. I've suddenly done the math and it is intimidating. I will have to pin it higher up on the wall so you can see the whole length of it. That's what I'm going for, is long banners, so. Thank you for the encouragement. I do appreciate it. Y'all's support means so much to me. You have no idea. Hearing some friendly, supportive voices with what I'm doing right now is very helpful, especially because my professors are on their Easter vacation right now, so I'm getting some feedback from them, but I don't have as much access to them as I did when we were all on campus, and I could just ask them, hey, does this look okay? But you're going to get lots of pretty pictures from me, hopefully. This actually took a lot less fabric than I thought it would, which is encouraging because it means I can make more banners, which means I will have plenty of patchwork to keep doing for as long as I'm stuck in my house. Although I think all of the little scrap bits that I'm collecting off the edge of this and anything that's left over after I finish my actual banners, I may just make myself a quilt to have for my bed quilt collection, like the one that's up in the corner here, as kind of a memento of the project. Although I do also have an unfinished Lone Star quilt in a box here that's waiting for me to finish piecing all the little diamonds together. So I may be working on that once I finish all of my banners. Okay, I'm going to stop real quick and take a picture of just this right here. Oh, I will keep that in mind. Thank you. I will eventually have stuff like this for sale or for commission, but right now, because I'm here under a student visa, I'm not legally allowed to sell my work, so I'm waiting until I've graduated, and then I will be finding homes for things that I've made, or I'll be making things for people to commission. So keep me in mind once I'm in a place where I can legally do that. But oh yeah, I'm going to take a picture of how this looks from this angle so that I can post that for y'all to see later. And also so that I can show my professors part of my process, because that's one of my assignments, is to document everything that I'm doing. And I have not been remembering to take pictures of these things as I've been doing them, so I'm going to have to start doing that. So apologies if I'm occasionally stopping to take out my phone and snap a picture, because I have to document everything since I'm being graded based on my documentation work more than my finished pieces now. And from this angle, it's actually really cool with the way the light is hitting all of this. And we're getting there. It's just 20 blocks takes a long time, especially with these nice long seams. But slow and steady wins the race. I'm a happy little quilting pet tortoise, I guess. I prefer being a bird, though. Just have to keep moving things away from the machine so I can get to it. One day I will have a sewing table with more space on it, but for right now, this is working. Yeah. Thank you, Erin. I absolutely love this sewing machine too. And Lupe, you're right. It has been that long since we were in elementary school, and let's see. Yeah, it's so surreal though, because I remember you specifically from elementary school, and I don't really remember most people our age in Floyd County aside from when we were all in elementary school together, because since I was homeschooled after that, I barely ever saw anyone. So I kind of missed everyone being teenagers, but I got to see, I remember everyone how they were as school children. But yeah, and I do love this sewing machine so much. Erin, she just makes the nicest sound, came with her instruction manual and all of her fun little feet that I've never had a reason to use yet because I've only been doing patchwork on it. But I mean, I couldn't ask for a nicer sewing machine to be working with here, especially because when I do go back to the States and start being an itinerant textile artist and glassblower in a motorhome or something like that, I don't have to plug this into electricity. All I need the electricity for is my computer and my light so I can see what I'm doing. But this is something that I could take her with me just about anywhere, not have to worry about plugs or access to things. I can just set her down on a table and start going. And, you know, just very pretty. And it needed a home. So the woman who had this sewing machine before me was its original owner, as far as I understand. I just saw your comment, Lupe. Yeah. Missing everyone's teenage years was probably better. But yeah, so about my sewing machine, her original owner had her for forever and gave her to a charity shop here in town, or her estate did. I can't quite remember whether she's still alive or not. Because they wanted her, Gertrude the sewing machine, I named her, of course, to go to somebody who would use her and love her. And I am so happy that I'm the one that ended up with her because it's exactly what I was looking for and what I needed. And it runs beautifully, and there's no plastic parts that will easily break. And it's a top loading bobbin. And for any of you who are sewing people, I know that some of the modern machines, I think it's the Brother ones and some other ones, they load the bobbin from the side. And for some reason, even though I have been working with sewing machines pretty much all my life, I've worked with all sorts of different kinds of things, I can never get the hang of front-loading bobbin cases. For some reason, when that gravity when a bobbin is loaded from this side rather than from up top, it just will not cooperate. So the fact that top-loading bobbin and her nice little bobbin winder, it all just works so well for me. And I will, when the next time I turn the computer around, I'll give you all a better view of her. But right now, I'm just going to go back to sewing. And if anyone is interested, for those of you seamstresses or seamsters, I suppose, who are out there who like this pattern, it's a really easy traditional log cabin block that I'm working with. And I have plans to, at some point, once I figure out how to film it appropriately, make a nice little tutorial video for anyone who's interested in making stuff like this. Because patchwork is fun, and I do enjoy showing people how I do this and seeing what people make. Although if you're watching me, you can also see how much time it takes to make some of this stuff. Yeah, okay, a comment about the smoke detector has been made. Yes, there is a smoke detector in my flat. It's right up above me that chirps. Unfortunately, even though it keeps chirping like its battery needs to be changed, It's one of those smoke detectors that's tied into the mains of the building and should not be chirping. And it is physically impossible to remove it from the ceiling to change the battery. I've tried, and there is no way I can figure out to take this thing down that would not destroy it. So I've actually gotten to the point where I only hear it if somebody brings it to my attention or if for some reason I'm listening for it. But yes, I hope that doesn't annoy the rest of you too much. It's just the smoke detectors in this building do work. They are tested regularly. It's just for some reason, and the gentleman who tests them did come through and look at this for me. For some reason, this one chirps, and I still can't figure out how to take it down. And even standing on my stepladder, because I'm so short, it's just far enough above my head still that it's not quite safe for me to be up there with my arms at the length of their limit trying to take it down and things. So it just, I have to live with it. But luckily I have all of these lovely tweeting birds outside that I can also hear. So the sounds kind of blend together. I'm sorry that y'all have to listen to it though. Anyway, where was I? Oh yes, I was moving some of my blocks over so I could get another one from the pile, and I'm getting close to the bottom of the pile. There's 3 more after this one, and then we can go press them and see how all the finished blocks look. The other weird thing with the smoke detector, of course, is that it'll go days without chirping, and then it'll start chirping again. So I don't know what's going on with it. I'll add that to the list of things to talk to my landlord about once he's able to leave his house again. All right, here's another one. Nice to see you as well, Erin. I hope you have a great day. I have to say, the best part of doing this is just getting to kind of sort of interact with all of you and show you what I'm doing and hear about how everything is going for you. But because, again, I'm stuck in my house, I haven't seen other people face to face for quite some time now, and I'm sure a lot of you are in the same boat, metaphorically there. Or I suppose it's in similarly sized small boats on the same ocean. We'll go with that. But I do need to go through and dust my sewing machine back here around her mechanism. She's starting to get a bit of frizz and fuzz from all of the sewing I've been doing, collecting a bit of dust somehow, because she's got a little bit of oil back here on her parts, so dust collects. And there it is, last one. And now I just need to snip all of these apart. Oh, I am 5'0" when I have shoes on, so 4'11.5" or something like that when I'm in my flat feet, depending on the day. But yeah, I never got much taller than I was when I was 13 or so, I think is when I stopped really growing. But my brother, on the other hand, I think he's 6'4" now. He's really tall, especially if he stands next to me. That is part of my purpose in life, is making people feel tall when I stand near them. It was a lot of fun when I was in choir at McMurray, because we would get new sopranos in every year who were used to being the shortest person in their choirs, and then they didn't have to be the shortest one in our choir because I was there. And they would always be just slightly taller than me, which when you're small, it makes a big difference. So, cut the wrong spot in the chain. There's one. Just gonna snip all of these apart and then get started on pressing them. And yes, I was a little bit homesick today, which is why I'm wearing this shirt. I have a small collection. Oh, wow. I can see that happening. You were always on the taller side of the kids in the grade. But yeah, I have a collection of 100% cotton shirts that I wear in the workshop, and a lot of them actually are ones that I've collected from different places I've been. And the last time that I was in DFW at the airport waiting for my flight to come back here at Christmas time, they had a sale on t-shirts, so I now have several Texas t-shirts that I can wear when I'm in the hot shop working with people. It is pleasing. And there they are. It's more, some days I have more of that I really miss being on the farm kind of thing, and today it's more of that I really miss having people around in my family. But that's why I'm doing patchwork and hanging out with y'all. It really helps. And I got to talk to my mom on Skype for quite a bit of time earlier today because she was helping me with one of my assignments. So anyway, there's our stack of finished blocks. I'm going to turn around and start pressing them. So just give me a second to set these down. And turn the computer around to the window. So you can see the sun, I did start a bit later than I usually do today, so the sun is already starting to go down a bit here. But it has been a nice, clear, beautiful day here today. And scissors, you can go back on the wall, and pins go over here. I am so excited to finish these blocks. I've been working on this for a week now. So, and y'all have been here watching me the whole time. Some of you. If you're just joining me now, thank you. I hope this is entertaining. So once I've got all of these blocks pressed, I will be pinning them into pairs. And then sewing those pairs of blocks together and then making the pairs into sets of 4 and then seaming those sets of 4 in together to make the final design. So there's the first one. And you can kind of see how the colors are weaving together, and I just absolutely love this pattern specifically for that effect. So I'm going to set this over here for now so that it's just out of the way, because they're a bit too big to set anywhere else now. And what do you think, guys? Here's the second one. I'm so happy with these. And there's that one. And I know these aren't perfect squares, but because I'm going to be putting these together in such a way that they make white diamonds in the center, I don't really want to add 2 more white strips to them to make them even bigger than they already are. I'll see how they look once I've got these all pressed, and then I'll lay a couple of them out and see how they look. But I really kind of like the idea of having them as not perfectly square blocks. So there's that one. And there's another one. Love the patterns in these. Thank you. I'm glad you like them. The pattern really kind of lined up on these two bits, didn't it? And there's another one. There's another one. Have a whole big stack of blocks here. There's another one. And there's another one. And there's another one there. And there's another block. And getting close to the end here. Last one. All right. And there's the last one. So I'm going to lay 4 of these out on the floor so I can show you what the block is going to look like before I start seaming them together. So one moment. Oh yeah, this is gonna work. So, come with me. Hope you don't get too seasick. So this, if you can see that okay, this is what they're going to look like as I seam them together. Can I just say I love how these look? I'm very excited with how these look. So I'm going to set you back down, and then I'm going to start pinning things into pairs. There we go. So with everything, it needs to be so that the blocks are kind of rotating around. So it needs to be so that the blue piece is being sewn onto the yellow piece, to the end of the yellow piece. Yeah. So that then as they go around, then it'll be yellow, blue, and that's the same. Yeah. So I can just pin them all exactly the same way and it'll be fine. I have to double check these things before I commit to pinning stuff. I'm so excited. Now, the tricky part with this is going to be to make sure that that yellow seam matches up with that blue seam. So I'm just going to start by pinning that spot together. And then work from there. So there's the first pair, ready to go. Making sure my seams line up is important to making them all sit straight and not have any big jumps in them when I go to sew it. And there's the second pair. So I should have 10 pairs since there's 20 blocks. And the full banner will have 5 white diamonds coming down the center of it. pair number 3 done. Four. 5. 'I do enjoy this all very much. That's part of why I do it, is because it makes me really happy to get to do these things and to see the patterns coming out, and it's very pleasing work. And I mean, and I really like the results as well. So that's nice. See, that was 6, I think. Yeah. Seven. 8. Once they get this big and once they get to the point where I start pairing them together, it takes a lot less time to pin things, which is very nice. It's starting to get kind of dark outside. And last pair. Then I can get to sewing. These are going to be so nice once they're done. And there they are. So now I'm going to turn y'all around and I'm going to start sewing these pairs together. Gonna get a little sip of my tea first though. There we are. As you can see, it has gotten a bit dark around here. I'm glad I had the lights on. But I think I at least am going to be able to get all of the larger blocks done today and then possibly tomorrow finish it because I do have to get food at some point, but not quite yet. So without further ado, let's get started on this. There's one down. Two down. Oh, my thread seems to have broken. Did it finish sewing that? Yes, it did. It just broke here. I have some leftover rice and chicken that I'm going to be eating for dinner. Thank you for asking. But that's going to be after I finish getting these blocks together a bit. I've been doing this for about an hour and a half, so 2 hours is my limit for doing any one thing at a stretch just right now, just to make sure I don't go stir crazy. So I'm at the very least going to get these sets of 4 put together, possibly, and then I'm going to go get my food. Just the long seams do take some time to sew. I'm guessing it's what, early afternoon in Texas right now? Yeah. It is. Yeah, so not that late in the afternoon at all. You've got the whole rest of the day ahead of you. And it's, well, you can see how dark the rest of my apartment is getting because I don't have the light on over there. But I had a really bright moon last night. It was beautiful. The spool of thread is starting to get kind of empty. I have to wonder how much more I'm going to get out of it before it fully ends. And for those of you who are curious, I am actually using 100% cotton thread on this as well because I like using cotton for things. And I got it originally so that if I was sewing anything before I dyed it, it would be the same kind of fiber and then hopefully would take the dye the same way. Thank you for the reminder. When I do need to do that. When I go in and start pressing these open, I will take a picture again. Also, hi, Uncle Lonnie Pat and Aunt Peggy, whichever one of you is watching. I'm glad you like her. I do really enjoy working with it. 1924 Singer hand crank. Can't beat the classics. Just have to get all this stuff out of the way. Getting there. I'm at the stage where it's finally starting to come together into a cohesive whole thing, and it's so exciting. Pardon me. I've had the window open all day, so the pollen here is making me sneeze off and on. I promise I am not sick. If you are concerned, it's really just me having a slight sensitivity to pollen. And I think some of my neighbors who have a backyard down the way have a small fire going, so there's a little bit of smoke coming in. So yeah, if you see me sneezing, I'm not sick. I just have allergies. I do, because Gertrude's foot has one side that is right at a perfect 1/4 inch seam and one side that's an 1/8 of an inch seam. But the 1/8 of an inch side is on the inside, and in order to sew that 1/4 inch seam, I tend to use that outer side to guide, which means that if once things get big, I need to roll them a little bit so that I can not run into this. So eventually I'll figure out some way to fix that and put a seam guide on it, but I much prefer just doing it this way. And 3 more sets to do. And there we go, last one. Now I just have to snip all 5 of these apart, or 10. I need to snip all 10 of these apart, and then go press them and see how they look. I have a feeling I may need to neaten up the places where they'll be seamed into the 4s, so I might end up doing those tomorrow because I'm going to have to set up things for cutting. But because they're not all perfectly the same size, so some of these bottom bits are definitely off somehow, and I'm not entirely sure how that's happened, but it has. So. That may just be that there were certain blocks where the seams were slightly bigger on one than they are on the other, or it's because, oh, no, that's what it is. It's because they're not perfect. So this, I'll see what I can do with this. There's that one. All right, so let's get these pressed. As you can see, it is very dark outside. So I'm just going to open up one of these and see how it looks. Oh yeah, this is going to be nice. I'm just going to, on some of them, need to neaten up that back seam, but that should be fine. All right. So these center seams, I'm going to press in the direction of the blue side so that they're all going to nest together neatly when I sew that final seam in the center. And there's the first pair. Yeah, these are going to be awesome. And see, this second one somehow ended up with one side that's a bit longer than the other. So I'll have to trim just a bit. But as long as all the seams match up in the end, it'll be fine. And that is a normal thing that happens with some blocks, is that the seam allowances will be ever so slightly off when you're sewing, and then they end up being bigger on one side or the other. So there's the second set of 2, and you can see right here, this is what I'm talking about, that I have a little bit I'll need to trim so that these come out even when I sew them together. I need to remember to take a picture this time after I press it. Don't let me forget. All right, there's another one. up so you can actually see it. I am loving these colors. Oh my goodness, these fabrics are so much fun. Oh, picture. You need to remember to take a picture. Thank you. So now I will set this one over with the others. But I'm definitely going to finish these tomorrow. Sorry for those of you who were hoping to see the full banner. It always takes me longer to do these things than I think it will. And that's part of why I'm recording myself doing these patchwork banners, is so that I can get a bit of an estimate as to how much time actually goes into one. Because I tend to lose track of time when I'm working. I just don't really notice time passing all that much if I'm in the middle of something. So that nice little clock on here that's telling me, oh, it's been an hour and 41 minutes since you started working, that's a good thing helping me make sure I don't spend too much time doing things. So there's that one. I may make a banner at some point that has blocks that are this width, so they'll be smaller. Yes, I did take a picture, and yeah, the blue is really shining in these today. Very pleased with this. And there's another one, and you're right, that blue is just popping. Oh, these are so much fun. And there's another one. The red's really kind of striking in this one, I think. With some of these blocks, depending on how the colors are laid out, they actually, with this pattern, look like they're woven. And I really like that aspect of the color of the pattern. Yeah. See, these live streams are also helpful for me in the sense that I can, while I'm talking to y'all, I'm talking through all of the stuff that I'm going to potentially be writing in my submissions for assessment, to explain to my professors what it is that I'm doing and why I'm doing it and what I think of it. And I'll hold this one up a different way this time. So there we go. And there's another one. Last one. I have to be careful when I'm pressing to not disturb any of the seams that I've already pressed one way or another. All right. So I'm going to turn my iron off. And there we go. Last one. And I am going to have to stop and go get some dinner, I think. So, not as long as some of the other live streams that I've done, but some days I have more time than others. Sometimes I can get more done than I can with others. So, tomorrow I will be taking these paired blocks and seaming them together to make that diamond design in the centers. And then hopefully I will be seaming all of the large scale blocks together to make the full banner. Thank you again for joining me and for watching this. I hope this has been interesting, entertaining for you, or just a nice background noise or image to have on. In any case, I hope that you and yours are safe and healthy and remain that way. And remember, no matter what's going on in the world, it's going to eventually get better. And just keep going. And whatever you're struggling with right now, I know you can get through this. I'm going to give you a little heart here. We're all going to get through this together. We're all going to be stronger for the experience, and keep creating. If you're a maker, keep doing whatever it is that you do that helps you draw energy and not be too terribly anxious in this crazy planet we live on. So I'm going to go off and get my dinner now, and bye.